Being in the financial space like we are, people ask us, will the US dollar collapse? What do you think of cryptocurrency? Do we think cryptocurrency will replace the US dollar? All of those are great questions, and that's what we are going to be talking about today on this episode of the Wealth Talks podcast.
One of the most common cryptocurrencies is Bitcoin. I don't own Bitcoin, but we know people that do, and they've done very well in it.
That's one side of the coin, no pun intended. But the other side of the coin is many people have leveraged themselves to the hilt to buy Bitcoin, and now they're just sitting on it, waiting for it to go up.
I have a video example that I saw online that was absolutely hilarious about what Bitcoin is actually like. You want to see it?
Yes, let's
Absolutely.
look at it.
And it's all gone just like that.
I don't think that's just characteristic of Bitcoin,
That's a
crypto,
good
or
point.
anything. I think it's an inherent risk that you take with any investment unless you've really done your research.
That's very much an investment mentality. And I think that's absolutely true because we have a lot of people that really, really, really want to be in real estate. And it's not because they have any experience in real estate or they're passionate about real estate per se. It's because they know of somebody who's reportedly made a lot of money in real estate and they think it's likely for them too. And it's not always the case.
In that video, we don't know who's behind that garage door. We don't know what kind of supply of anything is behind that garage door. We see the video, it's funny, but in an investment, it's very similar to that. We don't know what's on the other side.
I think that's why people like Warren Buffett and Jack Bogle and many other people that have done very well in the market have always said, you don't invest until you've done your research. You have to know. The people that we know that have done very well in Bitcoin or Ethereum, if that's how you pronounce it.
Ethereum or
Ethereum
something like
whatever,
that. We're no crypto experts. We've just observed a lot of behavior around crypto. Yeah.
They've done a lot of research and they're not afraid to buy and hold, because if you have bought, Bitcoin when it first came out, I don't know what year it is. I was just looking at the market today. I mean, it's gone up like 5,000%.
Oh, it is significant. I was taking an Uber ride somewhere with John. We were traveling for business somewhere, and it was late one night. I remember it was dark outside, and as we're cruising down some downtown streets of some city somewhere in the lower 48, our driver is saying to us, Bitcoin is where it's at. You've got to buy Bitcoin. And he claimed that he was buying Bitcoin with every dollar that he could spare at the time. Now, in 2020, when Bitcoin went skyrocketing, I thought about him. I don't remember what his name was. I remember it was a Toyota Prius he was driving us in that night. But I thought about him because if he actually had been putting every dollar he owned into Bitcoin, he was probably worth a lot of money at that point.
If he had cashed out.
That's a great point because he really believed in the currency. And you don't realize a profit in an investment until you take that profit. It's all just potential until you actually turn it into something that is a currency. Is Bitcoin a currency? It's debatable.
It is debatable because a currency has to have, 5 things to make it legitimate money. And when we say legitimate money, that's money that a government somewhere in the world has said, okay, this is the recognized currency. And the U.S. government hasn't recognized Bitcoin as currency yet, or they'd be taxing it. No.
That's a great point.
Okay. And the other thing is that Bitcoin, it might be very fungible, durable, portable, recognizable, but is it really stable? Those are the 5 things that make a currency money when a government says, okay, this is going to be the standard currency in this country. Now, it's very fungible, Bitcoin is, because that's one of the ideal things about it is that it can go across global markets without a currency exchange between like us and China or us and India or us and Russia. So it's got the same value. So it's very fungible. It's very portable. It's durable as long as the people that are running the digital currency world keep it up.
And when you say portable, you're not saying that I can carry it in my pocket and go to the store and use it or anything like that, but you're talking within the system. It can be transferred or bought or whatever they do with the cryptocurrency.
The problem is with most crypto right now, it's not very recognizable. I mean, there's some political candidates that have said, okay, we're going to take donations in crypto, but you can't go to the grocery store or borrow your gasoline, or you can't pay your utility bill with it yet, and you certainly can't pay your taxes with it.
That's true. I bought some Bitcoin at one point, and it was for a purpose, because when my brother and I started out in the welding business, we were making steel firearm targets. Well, you can't sell firearm targets on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace at the time because of the restrictions around those things. But there was a website called Backpage that you could sell on. And in order to run ads on Backpage, they required some payment in form of cryptocurrency. Now, it turns out Backpage was also a hub for other illegal activities like human trafficking probably and sexual type stuff. And they got shut down by the U.S. government. Probably also the reason that they wanted to deal in cryptocurrency so that the government couldn't reach into their standard banking accounts with US dollars.
We're not just jumping on crypto here because who knows, it might be the currency of the future. Nobody knows the future. But we could look at diamonds. Diamonds are not fungible at all because the same size diamond can be vastly different in value depending on the quality and the cut and everything else. So they're not fungible, so they can't really be a standard money that someone says, okay, you bring this size diamond in, you get this much groceries. So a lot of things that have been used for money in the past don't stand up to these 5 qualities.
This story right here of the silver I bought, I think I was 16 years old when I bought this silver. These are silver dollars, silver eagles. And when I bought them for either $33 or $34 a piece. That was the going price at the time. I bought some, and then I bought some more, and the price had gone up in between. I am 31 now, so it's been 15 years, I guess. 15 years since I bought this. And the value for most of the time that I bought this, if I were to go out and sell these coins, the value would have been less than what I paid. At one point, it was about half of what I paid for each coin. Today, I looked up silver spot price right before we got on this episode. It's just over $30. Now, these are worth a little bit more than spot because they're an actual coin, but not a lot. They're probably still not worth what I paid for them when I was 16.
The interesting thing here, though, is if you went to the grocery store with that dollar and they actually recognized that it was a legal currency, they would only trade you $1 worth of goods for that.
That's a good point. And you said something else, if they recognized it was dollar. There's a lot of people out there that might think I was trying to pass something on them. Mm-hmm. They don't know what a silver dollar looks like. I forget who it is, but there's a YouTuber that hits the street with a bar of silver and a stack of Hershey chocolate bars. And he asks people, would you like a bar of silver? Would you like a bar of chocolate? And the overwhelming majority of people choose the bar of chocolate.
Well, truth is, Ben, I haven't seen a silver coin for a long time. So I would need to look at this to know what it is. I haven't seen a silver coin for a long time. So I don't recognize the value, except that Ben just said he paid 30-something for it.
34 for that one.
Yeah, and if it's worth that now, great. But you've been sitting on this for a long time, 15 years.
I sure have.
And the money you paid for that has not been anything that you can control. And in economics, we call that lost opportunity costs.
No access to it. I can't use it for things and let it increase. You said something about portability as well, and this stack of coins is heavy. Feel that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's very
That's a
heavy.
lot of weight.
And if you were to have this in your pocket, your pants are going to be falling down. But
that's
it's
a good
also
point.
noisy. So if you walk around with it, people are going to know you got something.
Probably.
They're going to be watching you.
I'm going to guess that these 5 right here probably weigh more than all my credit cards combined.
Oh, yeah,
So-
definitely.
So the US dollar via credit card is a whole lot more portable than this silver is. And it's more convenient to use as well.
I read a story just recently about the $2 bill. It's legal currency in this country, but most people don't recognize it. You go to a grocery store or a gas station or any place of retail, they don't have a $2 slot in their till to put it. And so oftentimes when you bring that $2 bill in there, they go, "What's this?"
I remember reading a story about an employee at Chipotle that thought somebody was trying to pass fake money with the $2 bill.
When we get back from the break, we're going to talk about combinations that create wealth and combinations that create disaster. Not all combinations are equal.
The policy that works best for the infinite banking concept is a dividend-paying whole life insurance policy with a paid-up additions rider. You'll want this policy to be structured to allow the maximum cash value accumulation without creating unnecessary tax consequences or inhibiting the cash value growth for future policy years. At McPhee Insurance, we specialize in these types of policies. We are licensed in all 50 states, so no matter where you're located in the U.S., we can help you. Call our office at 702-660-7000 or email us team@mcpheeinsurance.com.
Let's talk for a minute about what creates wealth, because obviously some of these cryptocurrencies have value within them now. They may have started with little to none, but now they have some of them very significant value. What creates that value, and how can we create value in the realm of our finances, our investments, and our savings?
Well, if we look back at crypto and Bitcoin in specific, it's the number of people that have come to recognize that there is something there that they want. And when someone wants something more than what they already own and are willing to exchange for something else that they consider more valuable, that's where value comes from.
Somebody
It's the
else
market.
values something more than you do, and it creates a market for it, and that creates value around that.
So if you go into the store to buy a shirt, you don't value the money that you're paying for the shirt as much as the retailer does, and you value the shirt more than the money you're paying for it. And so both of you come out a winner. And that's what creates value.
We see this kind of thing at the farmers market that went all summer, where people come to the farmers market, they bring their money, they buy produce, they buy bread, they buy leather goods and honey, all the different vendors that are there. But then what also happens towards the end of that Saturday market is now the vendors are running around and they're exchanging flowers for bread and they're exchanging honey for leather goods among the vendors themselves. So money is the most easily exchanged because, what if the flower person doesn't want any bread that day? Then it's hard to exchange. But at the end of the market, then there's all that little bit of exchange among the vendors.
And that's toddler math 101 too, because if you think about it, there could be a pile of toys on the floor, and in another child's eyes, the only toy that has value is the toy that somebody else has. And if they want that toy more than the person that has it, and the one who has that toy recognizes that, all of a sudden they're afraid to let go of it because of the value that surrounds that toy. So value is created by what people treasure and value.
So if we just chase after, this person says this is really valuable, and we don't know.
I made a lot of money in real estate. You got to be in real estate. So
Right.
run after real estate.
Or we run after Bitcoin just because everyone else is making a lot of money in
Because-
Bitcoin, but we really don't understand it.
Or
It's
we
like-
think that everyone else is making a lot of money in the real estate or the Bitcoin, because
Great
not
point.
always are they making the money that they're talking about.
That's a very good point, and that makes me think of E.F. Hutton. Because E.F. Hutton used to have all these commercials, that said, my broker's E.F. Hutton, and everyone in the room got really quiet to listen. Whether it was a restaurant with all this noise or a train or wherever it was, everyone just suddenly got quiet. Well, E.F. Hutton created a combination of life insurance and investments called Universal Life.
Oh, that was a horrible deal.
Now,
was E.F. Hutton in the 80s?
he was in the 1979 is when he introduced his product.
Okay, so he had the benefit of that high interest rate.
That's correct.
Through the 80s.
And
after that period, they were cannibalistic. They just ate themselves. The ULs.
Millions of dollars have been paid out in settlements to people that bought those products that E.F. Hutton sold.
So you would think they would no longer sell those, but they do. They sell Universal Life. They sell Index Universal Life. It's still out there, and it's still being peddled, and people get excited about it.
It's still horrible.
It is.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is it's very hard to combine life insurance with investments. It's better just to leave that to the insurance company. I remember talking to a chief financial officer of a company that is an $18 billion company. And I said, what do you invest your money in personally? He says, I don't have $18 billion to float the market.
The bond market?
Yeah. So as a life insurance board member, I buy whole life insurance.
Well, that makes sense because the life insurance company is mainly investing in bonds. And so by buying into a mutual company, you are buying a small part of that, but a more liquid portion than what if you were to invest directly into bonds.
And because they have that $18 billion, they can float the market and not experience such tragic losses when the market has velocity.
That makes sense.
So whole life insurance can be an example of a good combination of how insurance is combined with investment that the insurance company does in the background to make a good, solid product. However, Universal Life is a horrible combination because of the way it's structured. It puts the risk back on the policy owner.
Combinations can be fantastic, like you said, or they can be disastrous. Combinations can create wealth, and there was this story we had in one of our childhood history type books growing up about the man who invented the sandwich. It was a couple of guys playing chess, and when lunch was ready, they didn't want to leave their chess game, so he said to his servant, hey, bring me a couple slices of bread and some meat. He put the meat between the bread, and ta-da, the sandwich was invented. Now, if you look at the wealth that was created by the sandwich, not only for the people that enjoy them, but for all the businesses and now the franchises that sell sandwiches, that was just through a simple combination, bread and meat. And, it's evolved to be more, but...
And it was a needed combination. No one had ever really thought about it before because, well, it wasn't needed. But now here's a need created and wealth came from it.
Yes.
I think of what Rabbi Lapin talks about when he writes in his book and speaks publicly about the combination of steel, like rebar, in concrete.
Oh, absolutely.
Because neither one of those are as strong as they are when they're combined. The synergetic effect of both of those together has allowed us to build skyscrapers and bridges and all kinds of concrete structures that would just crumble and fall apart if they were made just out of steel or just out of concrete. But combined together, they're great.
And they have somewhat opposite qualities as well, because concrete is brittle compared to steel. Steel is very strong in tensile strength. Concrete is not. Concrete is strong in compression strength. Mix the two of them together, they have the same expansion rate, which is wonderful because as they heat up and cool down, they will expand at the same rate instead of cracking and becoming separate again. And it's a combination that's created so much wealth.
I'm thinking of a story Nelson Nash, the founder of Becoming Your Own Banker and the Infinite Banking Concept, told us. He was a pilot, and he talked about a combination that's very, very dangerous, and that's ice on airplane wings.
Oh, yes.
And he was he was with his family, and they were flying, and they started getting iced up. And he didn't have de-icing on the family plane. What happens is that plane just gets so heavy, it'll fall flat right out of the air. It won't be able to carry, it won't have enough lift. It
will destroy the lift on the wing, yeah.
Yeah, and so he was able to turn the airplane around and get into warmer climate, and the ice all fell off. So ice and airplane wings is a really dangerous combination. And a lot of times people get involved in investments that they get into something they really don't know. And that's what Nelson was saying. He got into unknown weather conditions. We need to be very, very careful about where we put our money so that we can manage it. Now, he was a very experienced pilot. He was able to manage it and think straight. A lot of people aren't, and they just keep on going with that wrong decision that they've made, and they end up losing everything.
Well, not everything around ice is bad, because you can create ice cream and then go even further and combine ice cream and waffles. And now we get to enjoy our ice cream on the go in a waffle cone. So there's some great
combination that has created a lot of wealth. Think of not only all the people that enjoy a waffle cone ice cream cone, but all the franchises built around that sell and make the living and provide for their employees with ice cream cones.
And of course, it's not just certain combinations that are good or bad. It's not the combination necessarily. It's how we deal with them. Let's think of gasoline and fire. Most people think, whoa, that's a dangerous, explosive thing. And yet you put it inside a combustion engine and it's wonderful.
It's incredible.
So it's our environment and what we think about it and how we handle it and how we manage it. And that's what we love about whole life insurance, is that the insurance company is making the investments for us, and they've guaranteed that they're going to do a good job. They've contractually guaranteed that for us, but we still get to manage the growth that comes from that. And the way we manage that will either make it much better or it can destroy it.
All about the combinations that we choose and how we use it. I'm just thinking of some of the investments that we've done, because after all, right now, cryptocurrency is an investment. Buying cryptocurrency, for the most part, is an investment. I can think of a number of investments that we have run into over the years, been asked about, or known people that are involved in. And just to name a few would be the Iraqi dinar, silver, gold, of course, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, if that's how it's pronounced, NFTs, MLM businesses, franchises. I might even put a college education in there.
Absolutely.
Mastermind groups, investment groups, that kind of stuff. And then we have people promoting those that supposedly know what they're doing, or at least they're really rich, so they've made a lot of money. Like, you look at FTX with Sam Bankman-Fried. What happened to there? We had Tom Brady promoting that, Steph Curry promoting that, Shaquille O'Neal was promoting that. And then all of that came crashing down. So people that watch football and are Tom Brady's fan, or used to be while he was playing anyway, if they just listened to him on cryptocurrency and just went out and bought it, they could be in a very tough situation. If they don't understand what they're getting into, it's a very dangerous combination.
You know, that's a life lesson. A lot of people will look at entertainers or Hollywood producers or, you know, someone that has nothing to do with an area of expertise that they're looking at and just take their word for it. That goes for politics. It goes for financial. It goes for what do you do with your relationships. And that's a dangerous thing to allow someone that is just this icon over here that almost is worshipped, think that they have everything put together just perfect in their life and we're going to emulate that.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work. We have to do the research ourselves. And that's what we tell people all the time when they call and say, well, what are you invested in? It doesn't matter what I'm invested in. It matters that you understand what you're going to invest in before you invest.
Yes. I heard something the other day that really struck a chord, because the more you think about it, the more accurate you find it to be. It says people may be jealous of what you got, but they're not jealous of how you got it. And I think that's what happens a lot of times in the sports. People look up to these people because they're really rich. They're playing a game for a living. They're playing a game the person likes because they're watching that game. And they're doing that for a living. But they don't usually see the picture of how they got there. And yeah, they might be jealous of getting to play that game for a living and making a lot of money doing it. But if you look at the journey to get there, there's very few people that would be jealous of the time it took and the property. And then if you look at those people's lives on the other side, yes, they may be really good at that game, and that's the only portion of their life you see. But there's others areas of their life that, you know, they're probably not very good at.
I think of what Paul said when he wrote to the churches. He said, imitate me as I imitate Christ. So we can't, even someone that we look up to spiritually or really admire in some areas, that doesn't mean that we have to do everything that they do. We need to do our own diligence, look at what's going on, and find out if that's going to fit our needs and our ability to manage.
Speaking of the Bible, there's another mindset surrounding wealth that is important to keep in mind, I think, because the person in the Bible, in the New Testament, Jesus talks about him who said, I will save up for myself stores, and then I will tear down my barns. I will build bigger ones. I'll pack those full, and I'll say to myself, you have plenty. Now kick back and relax, enjoy yourself. So what is the purpose of investing? What is the purpose of making this wealth? What is it going to be used for? If it's just to indulge on yourself, then it's probably going to make wings like an eagle and fly away. Or your soul will be required of you, and then what happens to all of that wealth? Is it going to destroy the next generation like we see so often? Or is it going to perpetuate and make the world a better place?
I think ultimately that's what creating value is all about, is if we can give other people, help other people get as what they want in life, we'll have everything that we need in life. And that doesn't always seem to be the case, because greed and fear are the two major motivators of people. And when greed is the motivator, we often fail, because just as Solomon said years ago, he who desires money will never be satisfied with money or what money buys.
I think fear and greed are a lot of the reasons that people buy Bitcoin as well. Fear that something's going to happen to the dollar. Should I have a backup currency? Should that be crypto? Maybe I should buy Bitcoin. Fear that they're going to miss out on all these profits that everybody else seems to be getting. So if they don't buy Bitcoin, they can't stand a chance of profiting off of it. And then I think there's also the greed side of everybody's making money in this. I better get in on it. I want a piece of the pie. And that can be true for any investment, just like we've talked about. Crypto really is an investment at this point, and a lot of people approach investments with fear and greed. But I think the best place to make an investment from is from a point of faith and understanding. Faith in what it is that you are contributing to and creating value in, and understanding of how that value is being created and how the exchange of your money and your investment of money and time is going to be creating value overall.
It's not wrong to want to be as most productive and profitable as possible with the money that you manage. But remember the proverb, a faithful man is the one who will be blessed abundantly, while those who haste to get rich will not go unpunished.
I just want to say thank you for listening to the Wealth Talks podcast. We hope you enjoy and benefit from the material. We have had many listeners suggest great topics for the discussion on the podcast, and these may be our favorite discussions of all. If you would like to suggest a topic for discussion, you can email producer@wealthtalks.com or leave a comment in the YouTube comments. We look forward to being back with you next week right here on Wealth Talks.